Hi, friend. Guess what I found? Ooh, yes, you guessed right. It's a box. But before we get to this box, I wonder if you can still remember what a judge is. Yes, because we are going to learn about another one. Yes, it is somebody in the Bible's time that was the leader of the army of the people of Israel, but also the one who tried to help the people between right and wrong. You've got to guess today's judge. The first item is a lion's head. A young man was traveling with his parents. He wanted to marry a woman from a different country. On the way there to the town, the man killed a lion without any weapons. His parents didn't even know about it. It happened so quickly. Reaching the woman's home safely, she agreed to marry him. Then they went back home. Can you guess who the judge is yet? Second thing, a pot of honey. A month or so after the lion died, he went to visit his fiancée. He turned down the road and looked for the lion. In the meantime, bees had made a hive in the lion's carcass. There was already a lot of honey. He took some of the honey and ate it, and his fiancée were later married. They celebrated for 7 days. In those days, that is how long a wedding lasted. There were 30 Philistine men at the party. He told them a riddle, and he said, if you can guess the riddle, and you answer right, then I will give you something. They tried the riddle. It said, out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. They tried to get the right answer for 3 days, but they couldn't find it out. On the fourth day, they did something nasty. They went to his wife and said, talk to your husband and find out what the riddle was all about. So he gave her the answer because he loved her. On the last day of the party, just before the 7 days had passed, the Philistines came to him and said, the sweetest thing we can think of is honey, and the strongest thing we can think of is a lion. The answer has to be honey that comes from a lion. You owe us a pair of pants and everything else. What's the next thing? A piece of red material. He went down and he got so angry that he struck down 30 of the men, stripped them of everything, and gave their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. Who can you believe what happened? He was so furious. He killed the 30 Philistines in a different town and gave their clothes to his guests. He was so angry that he went home without his wife. Her father later left her marry another man. Oh, the next thing is confusing. Matches. He went back to his wife, but when he got there, his father-in-law already let her marry another man. Then he said, this time it isn't my fault if I do something to you. He caught many foxes and tied their tails together. Between the two tails he tied a torch and set it on fire. The jackals ran and burnt down the Philistines' fields, grapevines, and olive trees. Now all the Philistines were very angry with him. The next thing in my box is a rope. The Philistines were very angry with him and went down to find out among the Israelites. The Israelites were scared of the Philistines because they were their bosses. They found him and tied him with a new rope and handed him over to the Philistines. But the Spirit of God came upon him, and he was so strong he broke through the rope like a string. He took a donkey's jawbone and killed 1,000 Philistines. Can you believe it? The next thing is a heart. He fell in love with another Philistine woman. Her name was Delilah. The leaders of the Philistines bribed her to find out why he was so strong. Delilah asked him, "Tell me, why are you so strong? What can hold you back?" He answered, "If somebody ties me up with 7 fresh bowstrings, I have no power." But she cried and said to him, "You are lying to me." Then she tried it, but he broke the strings. She was terrified because he lied to her. This time he answered her, "If you tie me up with new rope, then I will be weak." But this failed again. Delilah complained to him and said, "You lie. You don't love me. Actually, you have to plait my seven plaits into a carpet of wool. Then I'll be weak." She did it while he was sleeping, but still he ripped it apart. Delilah was again very upset. She accused him of not loving her and trusting her. He almost went crazy with all the complaining. Then he told her everything. Do you know now who the judge is? Yes, it is Samson. The next thing is hair. Finally, Samson told her the truth. If they cut off all his hair, he'll be weak. It was the truth. They cut off Samson's hair. After that, he was weak. They poked out his eyes and they put him in jail. The last thing we can find in the box is the pillars. They threw him in jail, but while he was in jail, Samson's hair grew back again. So one day, the Philistines had a big party, and he asked God to help them because they made jokes of him. He asked God to he asked the Philistines to let him rest against 2 of the pillars. Samson put his arms around the pillars, and he asked Lord to give him strength one last time, and asked God to just be with him. He pulled over the pillars, and the whole temple crashed down on the Philistines. That day he died with them.